Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. It is just me today. We're going to be missing Alana's company and presence, but I wanted to talk to those of you who may be in the middle of this hypervigilant policing mode, intense anxiety, not able to calm down state of being. I really first just want to validate this space, and it's absolutely part of your experience of betrayal trauma. In fact, it becomes almost like second nature. It's like holding on to a rope in the middle of a storm, and you're just gripping this rope for dear life. And parts of you and your brain have convinced that if you let go, then everything will fall apart. All of your hopes, all of your dreams, your relationship, everything will fall apart. So we're going to hold on for dear life. It doesn't matter if our hands are calloused or bleeding or sore. We're not going to let go. The fear of letting go is too great. The unknown on the other side, if we let go, is too great. The need to control after feeling so out of control is so great. Holding on to the rope can indicate so many different things. Maybe it's checking their phone, analyzing their words, how they said it, the way they said it, the way they didn't say something that you feel like they should have, watching their every move, watching their eyes and seeing where their eyes are going as you're walking down the street or you're walking through the grocery store and you see a woman walking towards you and the woman is attractive and your eyes immediately go to their eyes. You're watching to see how long they look, how long do they glance. Hypervigilance can show up in so many little sneaky ways as well, where it feels like we're just being responsible, or we're staying informed, or just protecting ourselves from getting hurt again. But in reality, these behaviors are keeping your nervous system locked in that survival mode, tracking their moods, tracking their energy, the slightest shift in their energy, wondering if something is off. This can be confusing where it's more fear-based anxiety rather than gut intuition, especially if you are in a very hypervigilant, anxious type state, then the anxiety or fear that something might be off and the assumption that something's off versus your gut, we can get really confused in this hyperactive state. I just mentioned anxious attachment. When you've been betrayed, anxious attachment, disorganized attachment is very common. And so needing that constant reassurance where, are you sure you're not hiding anything? Where are you really going? Where were you? All of those policing questions, oftentimes even testing them with even small little traps, like saying that you know something and seeing if they then confess. I used to do this to my kids when they were little. But when we do it to our partner, it's coming from that need of constant reassurance so that we can temporarily feel soothed when they give that reassurance. But then we find ourselves needing to ask those same questions fairly soon afterwards. Hypervigilance is also when we're preparing for the worst at all times. I used to swear by this mantra that it's better for me to assume the worst and be pleasantly surprised than disappointed because I assumed the best. I truly believed in that mantra because when you've been betrayed, you are wondering when that betrayal is going to come and you feel like it's just right around the corner at all times. So it makes it really hard to enjoy moments of connection because you're waiting for that shoe to drop. If I let my guard down, I'm just going to get blindsided again. That's a hyper vigilant state of being. Also, when we compare ourselves to who they betrayed you with, whether it's pornography or it's actually multiple people, I remember finding myself constantly thinking, well, what does she have that I don't? Or what did she do that I am not doing? Whether that's in bed, whether that's just in life, my personality. I questioned everything, feeling like I had to change my appearance, my personality, my behavior to keep this person interested. This is hypervigilance. Maybe you find it hard to make any decision without knowing what they're doing, like 100% sure you know where they're at or what they're doing, and this is gonna keep you frozen when you're trying to make plans for yourself, your life, your future. This can lead to asking too many detailed questions about their schedule because it feels like you need to plan all around them, and now you're not really able to be fully relaxed when they're away from you because your mind keeps wondering, "What are they up to? What are they doing? What are they not doing?" That I think they should be doing. Another hypervigilant state of being is not trusting yourself to see the red flags next time. I see this a lot with my ladies that are separated or divorced and trying to get into another relationship. So, whether you're in the relationship or not, if we don't cultivate that trust within ourselves, we're going to worry that we're going to miss the red flags, whether it's with our current partner or another partner. So we feel like we have to monitor our partner all the time because we don't want to miss it, because we feel like we missed it the first time. We doubt our instincts by overcompensating and staying on high alert. It's ultimately believing that if we don't check, then we're going to be blindsided again. Maybe a lot of you, when you go out of town or your partner goes out of town, that's also when you notice the hypervigilance come in and even panic around, well, if I'm not there to watch and monitor, then that leaves the door open for them to act out again. The adrenaline and anxiety that comes when we're living in this space is so real. What I've noticed in my own experience, but also working with clients, that when we are living in this space so intensely, it is very disconnecting, right? We're very disconnected from our body. And when we're that disconnected from our body for that long of a period of time, we forget what it's like to just be. We forget what it's like to just exist. We forget what it's like to exist in the space of playfulness and happy and joy, peace. That all just feels foreign. I've mentioned this before. I don't remember if it's on this podcast or my Empowered Divorce podcast, but I remember specifically after leaving my partner, we were separated. There were a couple things that I was hoping he would do so that we can reconcile. So I was living with my parents, my 4 kids, in my parents' house. Most of my siblings had come over and then they were in the living room. My brothers were being silly, did something funny, and I started laughing. I hadn't heard myself laugh like that in so long. It caught me off guard to where I started crying. I'd excused myself and I just went and I just cried because the sound of my own laugh coming out of my mouth was so foreign. It was unrecognizable. And that reality of, oh my gosh, I haven't laughed like this. I had become unrecognizable to myself, even in my own laugh. Of course, that brought grief. That's why I was crying. If you are in that space, if that feels familiar to you or you've experienced that before, losing this part of you happens when we are in hypervigilance in this heightened state way too long. All of this hypervigilant state of mind comes at a cost. It impacts your body, creates more stress, higher cortisol. It doesn't actually bring real trust for you or in the relationship. It's more of a temporary relief. It absolutely drains your energy. So you're tired, you're probably not sleeping well, not eating well, or overeating, making healing feel impossible. It really does give the illusion of control. When your choice has been taken from you because of that betrayal, it makes absolute sense why parts of you want to hold on to as much control as possible. When trust is shattered, your nervous system doesn't just turn off all of the alarms. It's wanting to protect you, keep protecting you from any other possible harm. But here's the paradox. The very thing that helped you survive might now be the thing that keeps you stuck. Letting go of that rope that we're holding on for dear life, even if we're down to the last few threads, might feel impossible to let go, but it's absolutely necessary for healing. The trauma response of hypervigilance as protection is very real. Your brain is shifting into survival mode, activating that hypervigilance, which is, like I said, constantly scanning for danger. So your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for detecting all of these threats, it stays on high alert. It's convinced that if you monitor their actions closely enough, then you will prevent another betrayal. Like I said, the truth is you can't. You absolutely, unfortunately, can't control another person's choices, only your own healing. The illusion of this control is going to keep you on those anxiety loops. We think that we're staying in control, and sometimes temporarily, right? Even in short term, we might feel a little bit of that relief. Like I mentioned earlier, can often bring temporary relief, but it actually is feeding more into that spiral of anxiety and distress. Every time you check their phone, every time you question them or seek that reassurance, your brain experiences that temporary relief, but then it just goes right back into that need to check again the next time that anxiety arises. And so the cycle is anxiety and then checking, short term relief, more anxiety, checking again. And we get stuck in that loop. The only way to break it is by learning how to tolerate the uncertainty and find the safety within yourself, not in your partner's behavior. When we are in anxious attachment or disorganized attachment style, whether that's something you came into the relationship with or as a result of that attachment wounding with your partner, it makes letting go really difficult because monitoring is going to feel like a way to maintain that connection. So if you grew up in an environment where love felt inconsistent, your nervous system learned to stay hyper aware as a way to stay safe in those relationships. So letting go can often feel like you're abandoning yourself, but in reality, it's an act of self trust. We have to learn how to trust ourselves and turn towards ourselves rather than outwardly towards somebody else to give us that sense of safety. Imagine being in a tug of war with your partner's choices. So, going back to this analogy of the rope, on one end, you're pulling with everything you have, trying to control, predict, manage their behavior. The harder you pull, the more you're drained, the more you're anxious, and the more exhausted you become. You're exhausted because the energy that it's taking to live outside of yourself is literally pulling energy from every single one of your organs. Your body has to maintain a certain level of reserve energy for fight, flight, freeze. But when we are living in that heightened response far longer than intended, your body doesn't have the reserve. So it's designed, like every single human body is designed to keep doing anything necessary to build that reserve back up. When we don't have it, it's going to start, that catabolic energy is more of that breaking down, tearing down, and it's going to start pulling from wherever it can find energy, which is why autoimmune diseases, which is why chronic pain, chronic illness is a result of living in this state of hypervigilance long term. The truth is, if they're going to change, it won't be because you pulled the tug of war harder. It won't be because you found some added strength. You just got a really good yank and pull. It will not produce the change that I know every single one of you are hoping for, if not begging for. Letting go also isn't about giving up. I really want you to hear me on that. Letting go of the rope in this game of tug of war is not about giving up. It's about stepping out of the game. It's about recognizing that your healing cannot be dependent on their choices, and that real clarity about the future for you, for the relationship, is going to come when you observe, not when you control. Okay, so how do we let go of the rope, Amie? How do we let go without triggering the panic, without triggering the control part? How do we do this? We shift from control. And when I say control, it's absolutely letting go of the rope and the control that you really don't have control over. It goes back to what I was saying before, where we might have temporary relief. It's part of the unhealthy cycle. We're letting go of control that is outside of us. This doesn't mean letting go of the control that you do have. We're shifting from control to curiosity. Instead of how can I make sure they don't hurt me again? How can I make sure they don't act out again? Right? That's outside of us. We shift to what do their actions right now that I'm observing reveal when I stop managing them? When I stop trying to control, what are their actions or inactions revealing to me? What information is that giving me? So we're shifting from control to curiosity, because trust isn't built through investigation and finding things out and discovering. Trust is built through consistent, observable behavior over time. The second thing that can help us let go without triggering the panic of letting go is being able to practice soothing and not suppressing. Your nervous system is absolutely going to scream at you when you stop checking. When we let go of the rope, that hypervigilant rope, we stop questioning and checking and monitoring. When we stop doing that, it's going to trigger the central nervous system. It's going to go, ha, right? Danger, danger, danger. What we do instead of forcing yourself to just stop, because just like telling an addict to just stop, not going to work. Instead of saying just stop, you meet your body where it's at. When your body, your central nervous system screams, you breathe deeply, move your body, get up, walk, stretch, do some jumping jacks, journal what you're feeling, call a safe, trusted support person to be able to share what you're feeling. Say to yourself, I see you, I hear you. It makes sense what you're telling me right now, fear part, but I am safe right now. I'm going to keep gathering some information. Really soothing your body instead of suppressing. So many times when clients hear that you need to move out of hypervigilance, when you start to understand that it's not a healthy place to be, then we can be a little harsh on ourselves. And we tell ourselves, just stop. It's not good. Just stop. That's not going to work. Let's just accept that. And it's okay. Soothe the body when we're stopping the hypervigilance and the policing and holding onto the rope and playing that game of tug of war, letting those emotions come up when we've stopped and using those coping skills to soothe. Number 3 is anchor deeper into your own sense of self-trust. Hypervigilance often comes from feeling like you missed the red flags before, but the wiser version of you today won't miss them. You can't unknow what you now know. You're not today who you were then. You don't have to be afraid of missing something because you will see it and you will know what to do. It's such an interesting paradox because if we're in the space of hypervigilance, fear, heightened adrenaline, we actually are going to miss it. When we come out of it and step into that wiser self, higher self window of tolerance, you've heard me and Alana speak about that window of tolerance, and because that space isn't emotionless, that space is very connected to the body and allowing your body to feel those feelings and see things as they really are. That is where you get the information. You've heard me say this so many times. All your body needs right now is for you to believe it. It really doesn't matter if you're wrong, meaning your body says there's a red flag and you trust that there's a red flag. And then with further information, you find out that it isn't actually a red flag today, but your body was picking up on something that triggered the past. This is how you build your self-trust, by just believing your body rather than doubting. We believe our body in that window of tolerance rather in that hypervigilant state. And then the last thing I just want to mention is reading your own stability. So many of you are looking to your partner to create that stability. And this is where a lot of the hypervigilance comes in, where if we're looking for our partner to check off all the lists of things to do to get to recovery as a way for us to feel safe and stable. So is he doing therapy? Is he checking in? Is he feeling his feelings? Is he having empathy? Is he doing his group? Is he da 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 da? If he's doing those things, then I can feel safe. And I'm not saying that that's wrong to want, expect, or look for. What I'm saying here is that if that is what we're relying on to create our sense of safety and stability, then that is what's going to hijack us because it's not secure. If they're willing to do their work and they're actually doing the work, it will show over time. It will show over time. I promise. I promise. I promise. You will see it one way or another. You will see it quicker and more clearly when you are creating your own stability, because your job isn't to force what's happening over there. It's to build a life where you're okay no matter what they choose. I'm going to say that again because I know that's going to trigger a lot of your anxious attachment. Creating your own sense of safety is being able to create a space and a life where you are okay no matter what they choose. In hypervigilance, that doesn't exist. In hypervigilance, it's I am not okay unless they're choosing. And I need to make sure that they're choosing so that I can be okay. It is a big shift. I understand that. And this is why getting someone professionally to help you walk through when your parts freak out about this shift is so important. We want to be able to create our own sense of safety and stability within ourselves internally rather than focusing on getting that externally. Letting go does not mean you're naive. It does not mean you're accepting or allowing the destructive behaviors. It doesn't mean that you're saying what they did is okay. It means you're starting to choose yourself. It means stepping back to see clearly, to give them space to show up or not, and to reclaim that energy that has been stolen by fear. You don't have to hold the rope anymore because your healing is waiting for you. I know that. I believe that. You cannot force someone to be trustworthy. I have never seen it work in my years of doing this, but you can step back and see if they choose to be, if they choose to be honest, if they choose to be transparent, if they choose to heal, if they choose themselves, to love themselves, because we can't give something away that we don't already own. If you have to manage someone into being faithful and truthful and honest and transparent, they're not actually being faithful, truthful, transparent, or honest. Letting go is not a weakness. It's the strongest thing, the bravest thing you will ever do. You're not letting go of hope by letting go of the rope. You're letting go of control so that you can finally see the truth. And you are worthy of the peace that this will bring. Ask yourself, what is one thing that I can do just today that is in that hypervigilant space? Maybe some of the things that I mentioned today resonate. What's one thing that you can do just today to practice letting go of that rope and noticing those beautiful emotions that will come up when you even suggest to this part that we're going to practice letting go? Let yourself feel the feelings, write it down, let your feelings wheel be able to identify that more clearly. What is that feeling that's coming up? Identify where that is showing up in your body. I want you to place your hands over that part of your body that you're noticing it come up. Take a deep breath and let that emotion be there. This is moving you out of hypervigilance into that window of tolerance, into more of an embodied space. Turn your attention towards yourself just for today. And let's see what else you notice come up as you practice letting go of the rope, because it really is just that. It is a practice. But like I said, you're worthy of and worth the peace that that ultimately brings. I hope this helps today, and I hope that you can take this just one step at a time. As always, thank you for joining the conversation today, and we will see you next time. Take care. Sometimes it's really hard to believe something new, whether it's to believe that you can let go, believe that you can be safe, believe that you can trust yourself, believe that hope is possible, believe that healing is possible. There are so many limiting beliefs that can keep us stuck and keep us from moving forward, which is why I created the Believing in You coaching program. I see sometimes even in our support groups, we can get stuck, and I want to help you take your healing to that next level. So if you are in that place where you're feeling like you've got some good tools, but you still feel a little stuck, consider joining my Believing in You coaching program, because members of this group are getting double coached. Not only are they getting coaching from me, but as they watch other human brains get coached, they're getting even more information into themselves as they watch their own brain. I teach something every week, a tool, a principle, a concept, worksheets galore to take your healing up a level or two, because there's so many layers of healing. Sometimes we don't really know what those layers are if we don't have somebody challenging us. The group is challenging. It is a coaching group where we do push ourselves a little bit more because we have to get unstuck, especially if we're stuck in that victim mode. I am so passionate about helping women get unstuck and start believing something new about themselves, about their life, about their future, because I know it's possible to believe whatever you want, to be able to create the life that you want. There are so many perks that come with this membership. Check it out. The link is in the show notes. Click Believing in You to learn more. And hopefully I will see you soon.
At Choose Recovery, we do a lot of intensives, but there is one in particular that I am so excited about. It is the Rebuilding Us Intensive. And this is for couples who have been through betrayal, but have put in a lot of work and are ready to dive into some deeper emotional work. But They feel like there's something missing, that they need that extra support to take their relationship to the next level. So, this intensive is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, March 26th to 29th. So, it'll be a gorgeous time of year. Depending on where you're at in the world, come get some sunshine. What we'll be doing is we'll be using tools from emotionally focused therapy, doing the Hold Me Tight workshop, intermixed with lots of experiential activities, things like drum making and rappelling and different activities that are going to allow you an opportunity to really see each other, work together, and come and build something brand new. Because that's what we're doing here is we're not trying to go back to the way the relationship was. We're not trying to go back to old patterns. No, we're trying to break those patterns that weren't working and do something different and get that deeper level of intimacy. So if that's something that you would like in your relationship, you can go to chooserecoveryservices.com. Under intensives, you'll see the intensives for the whole year, but this one again is the Rebuilding Us intensive. And you can come hang out with myself and Hallie Roderick, Morgan Ellsworth, and Luke Gordon. It will be a small, intimate group, so you will get lots of one-on-one support along with being able to connect with others who are on the journey with you.
Hey guys, I am super excited to talk to you about our latest intensive that we have coming up. It's called Men's Journey to Wholeness. Prior to this, many of you attended Unmasked, and Men's Journey to Wholeness is the next level of recovery. It's more of phase 2 recovery. It's a relationship with self, so we can have a relationship with others. You're welcome to join us in the beautiful Spanish Fork area, and we are going to be having this on March 12th through the 14th. But let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a 3-day intensive. There's going to be a lot of transformational connection going on. That's going to be the focus. We're going to dive into the work, and we're going to have a pretty intense schedule. So here's going to attend. We're open to all men. So whether you attended the Unmasked intensive or not, it's okay. The focus is we're going to be building deeper relationship with yourself. A lot of times men are trying to kill that part of them that made these horrible choices. They don't like that part of them. We're going to identify that part of us, and we're going to allow us to see something that we haven't seen before. We're going to understand that the healing, the wounds of those parts of ourselves, that is actually being carried in a burden, and we're going to create some awareness around it. We're going to learn about how your protective parts protect and how they've shielded you from things and how they're still shielding you from things. And we're going to release some of those burdens. The principles are inspired by the book No Bad Parts. There's going to be activities. There's going to be experiential workshops. There's going to be hands-on exercises. There's going to be a lot of guided support. There'll be a couple surprises. You won't be sworn to secrecy, but it's going to be pretty fun to see everybody engage in the type of activities we have coming up for you. And let me tell you what a fair outcome might be if you decide to do something like this. By the end of the intensive, you're going to be able to embrace a part of yourself that maybe you haven't before and have some awareness around it. Much deeper connection with yourself and removing some of those barriers that keep you isolated. Also unburden yourself from the heaviness of the secrets. The secrets might be out there, but the burden of sharing parts of you that you just don't feel like you can share with other people. We'll give you some direction on how to sign up. Space is limited. I hate saying that. Definitely want you to hurry to registration. Reach out to us if you have questions. We can definitely have a conversation about it. We will give you more information about how to sign up in the notes of this podcast and on our website. Hopefully we can see you there.
Are there times you feel overwhelmed at the amount of resources and books available for betrayal trauma and addiction? Do you ever wonder where to start? Are you looking for a safe space to explore and process the various aspects of recovery? I'm Rachel Strong-Smith, and I am offering a group for women to come together to study and discuss a specific recovery book written by a professional in this field. This psychoeducational group will meet twice a month for a period of 3 months and be filled with group insights about the book that we are reading. As a social worker, I will facilitate the group by creating a space to explore questions and conversations, perspectives, and applications of the reading. There are many rich sources of information out there. Learning and growth are strengthened in community. Let's discover how these many resources can add to our life and the recovery process. Head over to chooserecoveryservices.com for more information and to sign up. I look forward to seeing you there.